Hello, hello, hello. This is attorney Mike Gravelin coming to you from Chicago as usual. And as you could probably figure out from the thumbnail, we've got a very exciting guest today. And so let's get this thing started. Well, I'm Well, my next guest, we've spent the last week watching his trial, so he really needs no introduction. Here he is, Mr. Kim Blandino. How you doing, Kim?
Fine. How's everybody doing out there?
Well, I'm cold. What's it like out there in Nevada?
It's a beautiful day. It was windy as heck yesterday, but it's just gorgeous out.
All right. So I'm going to kick this off with the important issue on everybody's mind. We had a discussion about this, and this is actually kind of charming. You have it on today. I know what your answer is, but tell everybody else. Is it a tie? Is it a cravat? Is it an ascot? What are we wearing there?
It is technically an ascot, which is a specific type of thing. A cravat actually is any tie or any neckwear that you have. So, it's the general and the specific. Generally, ties, anything. So this is a cravat and an ascot at the same time, but particularly it's an ascot.
Oh, that's good. We've actually had a large debate about that, and like I said, as you know, Ben Bateman was on yesterday, and I showed it. A viewer sent me one. What I didn't know, and they do look similar in color, is that you actually have two. You've got a red one and a
burgundy one. Now the red has the black in it as a contrast, but the burgundy is just a paisley without the black. I don't know if they can see that there. That's the burgundy color.
Right.
And then I'm wearing the red, and then the matching pocket square. And I got cufflinks. eBay, $5 for the package. That's not the
right,
cufflinks and pocket square.
You might have to show me how to tie it. I don't know.
There's a half a dozen ways to tie an ascot. It's amazing. You can go on YouTube and find the different ways to do it.
I'm gonna have to search on YouTube because at some point I'm gonna have to put it on. So you are a trendsetter.
It's amazing how many people I'll be out, even in the courthouse, and they say, "Man, you are looking sharp." And then I tell them that this, minus the vest and the shirt, at the Deseret Industries, which is LDS, $13 for this pinstripe suit. I looked on the internet, and it's like a $600 suit if you buy it new.
Well, there you go. Okay, well then that leads me into my first thing. We're back to the trial. First of all, how do you feel? Are you just exhausted from this trial?
Not really. I'm pretty much energized. I'm working on a motion for new trial now. In Nevada law, you've got 7 days to ask for it, or as the judge might. So if you need more time, see the complaint about motions for new trial. Oh, there that light goes. Oh boy, it's going.
All right, we're back. It's all good.
Anyway, they always had a complaint on motions for new trial. So it's either 7 days or as the judge prescribes. So you want a motion for a new time, because with a motion for new trial, for 7 days deadline, they were putting in bare bones motions and then supplementing it later.
So you're working on a motion for new trial right now.
Exactly. Yeah.
You're gonna do that. Do you plan on appealing this verdict if you don't get anywhere with that motion?
Now that's interesting that you use the word verdict there, because under Nevada law, and I just looked on a case, Witter versus State is very good. You can actually in Nevada appeal the verdict or the judgment. I can actually, so I wouldn't have a judgment till after I was sentenced, right? But the verdict I can actually appeal. At least they follow their own case law. The Nevada, this is a 2019 case. So interestingly enough, I can do, yeah.
Well, when we started, and all this thing where he started, that is the sort of thing that we know you for, is the suit and the ascot and all that stuff. So this is sort of interesting. Mm-hmm. You surprised a lot of people. Why did you show up to the first day of trial in a T-shirt? I believe you've got one of them behind you right now.
Yeah. It says Trump now, Jesus forever, socialism equals slavery, which was, Trump's line was socialism, and then savior equals self-rule. A lot of people ask me,
I get it, but do you see where that might be a problem with court, though?
I told Ben at the veneer, which is where they have the jury pool, that's called the veneer.
Right.
And I told them, I said, look, we need to select out some ones that might have a real problem with that, because part of my vow was either to wear the suit, since I got these shirts and I got 24 of them I ordered, because that's a minimum silk screen. So anyway, and it came to me in a vision to do it. Originally it was going to be Trump 2020, Jesus forever, but I said, then the shirt's only good for 1 year, right? So I figured Trump now, Jesus
Well,
forever.
okay, so it's your unorthodox method of jury selection.
Well, see here, what I wanted Ben to do, I said, look, just hold up the T-shirt and say, is it possible for you to come with a solid, fair verdict, even though someone's religious beliefs and practices might be completely different from yours? And I thought that was an appropriate question. Now, you could see that 5 people had a real problem with the shirt when I wore it. So I told Ben that night, when he refused to do that at the veneer, I said, look, Ben, then I'm going to wear it in the morning or the afternoon so that people can see it, because we got to see even what reaction people would have. I got to look at the jury and see if we see horror, whatever it might be. But he wouldn't do it. So I said,
there was a reason for you to do it. You wanted to see if you could deal with those jurors. I understand. You know, it's interesting.
It's very possible. Yeah, I mean, it's very possible in my mind that you could have somebody look at that and say, there's no way I could find a guy not guilty that wore a shirt like that. I mean, I saw a jury selection 1 week beforehand, and as much as the judge said, you know, the presumption of innocence and everything and all that, 2 out of the veneer were taken because when Craig Mueller, and you know Craig Mueller from the Michael McDonald case, or a lot of your viewers, when he asked about that presumption of innocence and delved in it more deeply, 2 of the jurors, believe it or not, said, well, I think if a guy's really is innocent, he should be able to show something. So that's putting a burden on the defendant to show some innocence, no matter how slight. And that's a no-no in our system, as you know. You can't put any burden whatsoever on the defendant, no matter how minor a burden it might be.
But do you realize you were running the risk? I mean, we're past it, so we can just discuss it. But do you realize you were running the risk? Judge Levitt didn't go that way, but another judge could have said, either take that off, or I'm holding you in contempt. It's not appropriate for court. We're not.
Well, we had some pretty good cases, and I think that's what the judge knew about, where they chastised and they found in contempt a public defender that was wearing a badge, some kind of I don't know, it was breast cancer or something, some kind of activist badge, and said take it off. And so they're pretty attuned to that. I think now that you still have your right to freedom of speech and freedom of expression, including messages on T-shirts.
Well, first of all, I also want to thank you again. A lot of my viewers have watched a lot of your trial. We were fascinated by it. It was an interesting case, and I appreciate you coming on here to share your thoughts with it. Some people will be upset that I have you on.
Oh, yes.
Some people will love it. That's the nature of such things. Right. But I think it's very nice of you to come on and give your thoughts as to your perception of it. It was your trial.
Right.
The thing
partly,
starting to say,
if I may interrupt here, as you know, I wanted to represent myself, but that option was taken away from me, and I believe that's a good appealable issue.
Well, that's one of the first things that struck me. As we discussed this a little bit before, Ben came on yesterday, and I've never spoken to him before, very briefly. And you speak very highly of him. He's just a nice, likable guy.
Oh, he's a great guy. He's a great guy.
And you guys are actually very similar. And it's very similar to my relationship with you in the sense that you get along very well. He disagrees with you in terms of legal strategy.
Exactly.
But on a personal level, you get along fine.
Yeah.
Well, that's my assessment of it.
Yeah. The thing about it is Ben, he said, you know how the expression, you can't unring the bell, you can't put the toothpaste back into the tube. I knew when they showed those videos of me in the traffic trial and then going there, I mean, that's a bell that you can't unring, you know, and I'm a peculiar person with peculiar religious beliefs and practices. I know that. And so if I in any way try to shy away from that, you're going to be trying to, you know, straddle 2 boats in the river, and you're going to be split apart. you've got to pick one or the other. You can't be in the middle of the road. You get run over. So I can't hide from what I am and what my belief structure is.
Well, we're watching the trial, and as it progressed, based on your prior activity in court and being very upfront and accusing a lot of judges and trying to get everyone removed and everything like that, people thought that you would be held in contempt. I certainly did. I'm not trying to be mean. I just thought that an issue would come up, that it would blow up, and you'd be held in contempt. But that's not what happened. You sat there. I was surprised. You sat there for a long time. You disagreed with, but I saw you speaking with Ben throughout the trial. You would lean over and he would talk to you.
And occasionally he does. They realize that was a good point, and he'd introduce it into.
Right. So I guess it's more complicated than we just don't get along. It's like, no, we see eye to eye on some things and not others.
Right. And as for the trial
you
strategy,
got through this whole trial, this long, grueling trial, and everything is, and to my surprise and to my viewer's surprise, to be honest with you, but just because the way you are in court, but until it was the rebuttal argument, and can you tell us what happened there? Or
when
do you
Mike
not want to talk about that?
When Michael Dickerson comes right in front of the table,
everything. There really were no outbursts. There was a request from the judge for you to wear a suit, which you did later in the afternoon. That wasn't a big deal. There were discussions outside of the presence of the jury.
The judge never requested I wore a suit. I changed of my own volition. I just had
yeah, that's true. I don't even think she did request. I think Ben at some point said that you had told him you were going to change. And
exactly. I only wanted them to see it either the morning or afternoon session. Obviously, I can change during the lunch break.
Got it. So even that wasn't contentious, really. There were fights about motions or whatever, but that happens at every trial. There's a dispute, so of course there's some contentiousness, but nothing outside of the norm. The only thing outside of the norm was the rebuttal argument. Can you tell me what happened from your perspective?
Here's what happened. He kept coming in there, and I said, Ben, you need to object or something. I was not told. If I was told that he had an opportunity, see, I took a bench trial in my previous thing. Some of your viewers have mentioned about the violation of custody rights trial I had in the 90s. Right. I took a bench trial because it was all legal issues, and the judge was not going to allow me to argue jury nullification to the jury. So it's all legal issues. So I waived the jury trial. And whenever I tried to step to the table, just in front of the table, like 20 feet away from the witness, they'd say, Mr. Blandino, stay behind the table. So I had no idea that what they were saying was permissible. And somebody would inform me that he could do that. So, he did it once. He did it
and
twice,
you were representing yourself in that case?
Oh, yes. As a matter of fact, Blandino versus State, they would not let me represent myself on appeal. And that case is a published case, 924 Pacific 2nd, I think. 914 Pacific 2nd, 924. That case was referenced in Martinez versus Court of Appeals, where they did finally decide the issue that you cannot represent yourself on appeal if the state denies it to you. You don't have a right to do so. And my case was in the briefs, Blandino versus State.
I get where you're coming from. I could talk about this for an hour. I'm not going to. Sometimes I call my viewers law nerds because they do have this in common with you. They love to think about the law. A lot of my viewers, they really get into it.
Right.
And it is interesting. It's typical, like if you're really being formal in court, you say, may I approach the witness to the judge before you even hand them an exhibit or do anything like that.
Exactly. Yeah.
You're not a witness, you're a defendant.
Right.
In that circumstance, okay? And you're giving closing argument. I can tell you that was, from my perspective, I looked at that. I've seen him get right up in a defendant's face and point the finger at him and call him a killer. I've seen him place shell casings and try to do it obnoxiously so it makes noise in front of the defendant. That's typical prosecutorial behavior.
Yeah. But if Ben would have told me, it said, Kim, court's indulgence or whatever, you need a minute, talk to me and say, hey, look, they're not going to buy that argument. If he had asked for clarification from the judge, because I just, and based on what I had, and I guarantee you, knowing this judge and the way the judicial offices are here in the 8th Judicial District. If I were representing myself, and that's what I try to indicate to the judge, and I went over to the prosecution table and done that kind of thing, I would have been advised, Mr. Blandino, don't do that. It's like, if you like Trump, Trump can do no wrong and Biden can do no right. And if you're in the media, Trump can do no right, Biden can do no wrong. It's just what your biases are. And so if he would have told me that, I thought I needed to get that on the record, because look at the NFL now. They give penalties for taunting when you get in somebody's face like that. And he came over there multiple times. Now, taunting, you wouldn't have had that in the 50s, 60s, 70s in football, but they've got it now, So
okay,
I
got it. So we had that moment.
Yeah.
And you didn't like it. And we got through it. The judge, he leaves, that we bring the jury back. The rebuttal starts again. Mm-hmm. And you spill water on yourself. And I'm not trying to be difficult, but it looks like, was that intentional or not? It looks like it could have been.
I don't know what was going on. I was a little bit, I was wondering what was going on and stuff. And I don't know what was going on in my head with that. Something shocked me. It was, I didn't spill the whole water. I caught it, but,
right. Okay.
I can't really speak to that,
Fair enough. Fair enough. So, so you're set for sentencing on July 7th.
Right. I talked to PMP, or gave my PSI, what's called pre-sentence investigation report, to the PNP, and then I've checked in for the house arrest. And so and we talked before this, and I don't even know all the terms, but your plan is to be there on the 7th, and you're complying with all terms from the judge. Well, I'm hoping, I'm going to file this motion as best I can if they'll allow me. Ben's officially now talked to Drew Christensen, who's the head of conflict counsel. When you can't have the public defender, that's what you were talking about with Ben. As a matter of fact, you were appointed on this case. You're not a public defender,
right?
And that line. So he's asking him to get a new counsel so that he could file the motion for new trial. But with a 7-day fuse, I got to have this thing in by Wednesday. So with the vexatious litigant order, if I don't have counsel and Ben's not going to file it, I'm going to have to attempt to file it into the case. And they can treat it as a fugitive document at first and maybe allow it later. But I've got to at least try to get that in that 7 days.
All right, fair enough. I get it. You have a 7-day deadline, but let's assume this for the sake of conversation, because I also think it's the likelihood. Although I don't know, I think that your motion for new trial is going to be denied. Okay,
most of them are.
Yeah. But I'm saying you're planning on going along with the plan, going with sentencing, whatever, unless something veers it off. Okay, if you're granted a new trial, obviously there's no sentencing.
Yeah, I'm not going to fail to make a court appearance. There's no way I'm going to do that. No.
Okay. Right. And you're not, I can't remember. You're not supposed to contact some people, but you have no intention of contacting anybody that you're prohibited from and all that sort of thing.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay. No, because people want to know, hey, so you're openly saying, look, to the extent I can't legally change it, I'm on board with the plan.
Right. And like I was telling you earlier, that I've got the right to appeal just the verdict alone under Nevada law. I don't have to wait until sentencing and get a judgment of conviction. So I'll be working on that as well, that notice of appeal. Got to get all the transcripts so we can see exactly what was said. And under law, I'm allowed those transcripts at no cost, since I can't afford the 1,000 or so.
What was your sense as the trial was going on? Did you think it was going well or not? Just in your mind?
I knew that from the beginning. I told Ben, probably the only likelihood that I could reasonably have is if I could get a 1 or 2, a hung jury, because I'm just not likable in the thing. My religious beliefs and practices are out there, and they're going to say, well, and Michael Dickerson, he's a classic showman. Tremendous. When he's doing his oral argument, he's flipping a page here. He's looking at his, the different documents. This is his letter, and he just kind of flings it over there, and then coming over there I told him after the break, or during the break, after I had that little outburst there, I said, Michael, that was classic. You did that excellently. You couldn't have set that up any better. You baited me in, and I fell for it like a sucker fish. So,
so you even get along with Michael Dickerson?
Oh, we're telling jokes and everything. Look, he's doing a job.
Wait. I have to show this. This is fun. I'm sorry. We did a little
You're
loop
going to
of
show
it.
the dancing Blandino, huh?
Yeah. Can I get your reaction to that?
Go ahead.
It's charming.
And I don't know what
fun.
it was in reference, but it was something funny that happened, and I was doing the little dance,
All right, let's take a look at a little bit of it. I honestly liked it, and you were telling jokes to both prosecutors at the time. That's what started this.
Sure.
Okay, let's take a look. Okay. I'll stop it. Oh, see, you. It's funny. You find it funny like I do.
Okay,
of course.
You know what this may have been? This may have been when he went to amend the indictment, and this is inside baseball stuff. Your viewers won't know this. When he went to amend the indictment, and he went to include the language about a public apology, he left out the L. It was pubic apology. And so he was all red-faced and embarrassed. He had to go back to the clerk and said that was meant to be an L. And so I said, from now on, Michael, I'm going to refer to you as Mr. Pubic Apology. and so, yeah.
Now
one of my favorite jokes.
We didn't know this.
Yeah, one of my favorite jokes, and I told Melanie and Michael, is a priest, a minister, and a rabbit go into a bar. And the bartender says to the rabbit, can I help you? And he says, I don't know. I'm just here because of autocorrect. And they liked it.
I like that joke. I was afraid it was going to go someplace ugly, and it didn't. It was clean as a whistle.
But see, I think because the DA's office works with cut, paste, and copy, and they probably have autocorrect in this program, and they deal with pubic matters in lewdness cases and everything. The pubic area is mentioned. Right. I think that's what happened with that thing. I think the autocorrect went from public into pubic.
Yep. That makes sense. All right. I appreciate you coming by. I want to let you go. We haven't done any damage. We haven't gotten you in any trouble. Okay. My thought, well, whatever.
Can I leave you with one thought, though? Because I really want the audience. I'm getting the comments, you're a fake Christian. A Christian wouldn't act that way and all that kind of thing. Look, I sincerely wish one day, this is from my heart, that Federico, I think he's arrogant. I don't really think he should be on the bench because he doesn't have the temperament to be a good judge. And that could change one day. I hope that one day, we could put arms around each other and say, we have the similar beliefs. And I don't wish harm to anyone, Michael Dickerson, Melanie, the judge, or anything. But, if somebody's not, and there have been judges removed. If you saw all the decisions where judges were removed, and for what causes, you'd be like horrified. Well, maybe not. You're in Chicago. A lot of judges taking bribes and stuff.
Takes some doing from Chicago, yeah.
Yeah, even governors in Illinois, right? So, but the thing is that I always want to help people. I'm always like looking out for ways that I can help because, and you always have to be the happy warrior. You've heard that term. So when he said, when I told him on the stand, it was outrageous what he did. If you're not having fun, you're not doing it right. And if you're not doing right, you're not having fun. So he just took the first half of that. But what that is meant to encapsulate is the fact, even if you've got the dirtiest job to do, cleaning toilets or, doing that, you might as well have fun doing it because, you're going to have to do it anyway. So isn't it better to have a cheerful attitude about the dirty work that you got to do? Yep. That's what I was trying to convey. And I always want the best for everybody. And ultimately, from my perspective, the best is to follow what God wants you to do and to love your neighbor as you love yourself.
Okay. Well, I can get behind that.
I apologize to Mike about that blow up thing. And, I wasn't happy he did it, but, he threw out the line and I fell hook, line, and sinker for it. So,
all right. Well, I wish you well. I think you should. I told you the last time we talked. You should listen to Ben. I hope you find a way to minimize the issues here and carry on. And
by
I
the way,
really appreciate you coming on.
I saw part of your thing with Debbie, and these are both probationable offenses. Offenses.
They are.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well,
The
again,
category
I'm
B
not,
that's in the thing.
have a Nevada attorney tell you, but I think step one would be to stop making complaints against people and look sincere about it and say and apologize. I think you would get very lenient treatment, but I don't know.
See,
That's
if it
just my
wasn't a
thought.
probationable offense, I would have got rebanded there. The very fact that I'm on bail pending sentencing points to the fact that it's probationable. But I looked at the law last night pretty carefully, and it's
Okay.
probationable.
Okay.
If
Yeah, I would know that. We're just kind of kicking around.
Yeah, it was a category B 1 to 20, but it's not probationable, but a 1 to 10 is. So,
all right. Well, thank you very much, Kim. I appreciate you coming out, and I know my viewers, will appreciate getting your perspective on this.
Mike, you're a gentleman and a scholar. Anytime.
All right. Thank you. Wow. Well, that was fun. Honestly, that was fun. I'm going to try to do super chats real quick. That was unbelievably interesting. I know some of you will get out after me in the comments. It's the typical thing I do. I have this went on there. I have a thing called chats, and if I just have someone who's interesting, or in a case or whatever, I put them in there, and I am nice, and I want to hear their perspective. And I thought that was very interesting, at least for me. And so I'm going to try to go through and do the super chats real quick here. Let me see. The highlight for me, it really was when showing Mr. Blandino the dance and him getting a chuckle out of it. I just found that charming. I did. Maybe I'm a softie. I might just be a softie. Bite me, TJ, $10. This isn't enough of a donation for this get. Just amazing. Thank you. Kim doesn't have a grasp on his actual situation. It's odd. He's got more of a grasp than most people would, and less at the same time. Because he's got a set of beliefs that aren't going to work with it, but he's trying. He's trying in his way. How does it feel being a convicted felon? Guilty. Okay. I'm sure he'll see it. I knew there'd be some of that. Ann Larson, $5. Ask him to dance. I should have done that. He was a good sport about the ascot and the dance. I will give him that. Wow, he asked to interrupt. Maybe he has changed. Give this up, Kim. You're wrong. We're all wrong sometimes. Yes, that was. I was trying to deliver that message nicely. Agreed. Yes. Kim Blandino is very much real. That is not the first chat, but the second chat with Kim Blandino, and he is very him. Does your chair swivel? Thank you, Knight of Knee, I guess is what I'm going to call you. I don't know. Give me a pronunciation on that one. Bridge the divide. You wanted to represent yourself. Tell us you don't understand Abe Lincoln without telling us you don't understand Abe Lincoln. So cool that Kim joined us. This is history. Yeah, honestly, I thought that was very interesting. One of the things I like about Kim, and I disagree with a lot of his actions or whatever, but he can have a civilized conversation. And he actually says stuff. I mean, I didn't know everything he was going to say. It's actually an interesting exchange. I thought, just from my perspective, I don't know if it made a great video, but it was interesting to me personally. Mr. Blandino, how have you earned a living? I did not ask him that, but maybe he'll tell you in the comments. You never know. Kim is now a volunteer official felon. Over under 4 catching another charge from appeals. Yeah, I was trying to steer him away from rattling his sword because I did want to hear his perspective, but I did not want to cause him trouble. In addition to what he already has, I mean, let the court process hang out. But that was not my intent, and I think we made that. I don't think he did anything that should get him in trouble with his conditions or anything. All right, where else? All right. Oh, here we go. Ascot calling the cravat a tie. I liked getting his take on the Ascot. I really did. I thought that was fun. This is a great idea. Pre-sentencing. The man is a legal genius. Dorby, I'm still cranky with you for dumping on poor Ben Bateman yesterday, but thank you. Keeping it criminal. You made my day. Kick. Thank you. Your dance video, which I mean that is pretty cool. I've been poaching your dance video for a week now. I've credited you left and right, and it's fully deserved. But getting your video shown to the subject, come on, that's solid. Thank you. It was just well done. You're far too nice, Mike. Go get some DQ. I'm not nearly as nice as I appear. I'm going to just say that right now. Sam, I am. Thanks, Mike. Kim is almost likable. Too bad he's a narcissist. I think it's a fair assessment. I really do. He's a guy. He's a guy that part of me likes and part of me he makes absolutely crazy simultaneously. That's Kim Blandino. Kidding me on $1.99. We're just proud you weren't muted the whole time. I like it. My law nerds have a low bar for me, and you should. That means you've been paying attention. If the man just gets his mic on, we're happy. I mean that's all. That's all. Oh, Sheila Red, $33. Thank you. I'm wondering, is the 33 has significance that I'm missing? I don't know, but it's a lot. Thank you. Night of Knee, $1.99. Night of Knee from Monty Python. Okay. You got your underscores. You're screwing me all up. The Night of Knee. Tracy Haverstick. This was an early Easter egg. Yes, it was. All right, where we are. I have to run. Spilled water in my lap. I thought that was interesting too. There's another one. That was a pointed question. I told him I thought he spilled this stuff, and he gave his answer. He said what he said. You judge it yourself. If he doesn't know the prosecutor can walk in front of the courtroom, how is he going to prove he knows enough to defend himself? Yep, that is a problem. That's the problem. He does know all sorts of obscure things, way more than some attorneys on way more than me on some little issues or whatever. But he doesn't get the big picture. That's just very typical. I mean, he is way ahead of your average like pro se person. He does know more about law, but there are huge gaps in things that he doesn't know that are day-to-day things that an attorney knows that practices. That is the truth. Wouldn't answer the water spill question. Yeah, sort of. Yeah, right. He didn't. I think that answer spoke for itself, though, if that makes sense. Direct all snarky comments to Artie's corporate fiction. No, I'm just kidding. We're not out. We're not out. After all this, I passed out literally, and then somebody sent me that one that's called "This Doesn't Make Sense," and it was just a soft sit in court, and I'm like, I'm so exhausted, but this clip is so good, and I got up the next morning and did a video on it. I'm like, it'll never end. It'll never end. Don't shatter my suspended belief that you're a nice guy. Oh. All right. Thank you all. I really appreciate coming out. I actually have a hearing to get to. It was great that I got to squeeze that in. And thank you again to Kim for showing up. And thank you, Ben, yesterday. It was a lot more interesting to see the players come right on live talk on Law Talk with Mike and talk live with me after spending a week at that trial.